how one should conduct oneself in practice as to attain the goal of the practice. And Krishna says, Itavat iva jignasyam tattva. Tattva means the truth or the absolute truth. Jignasyam means to be inquired. Tattva is to be inquired. One is to inquire from truth. Jignasana atmana. Jignasana means the student. He who is inquiring should inquire about the truth of the self, atmana. How? Ambaya vyatirekavya. Directly and indirectly. In both ways, he should desperately, obsessionately look for truth. And yat syat sarvatra sarvada. Sarvatra, in all space, in all time. Sarvada, in all circumstances. That's the spirit of inquiry. That's the spirit of how to look for truth. In every time, place, and circumstance, directly, indirectly, obsessioned with my search. In a healthy way, of course. So this is a gopi's spirit of inquiry. As you can see how they are looking for Krishna when he disappears. Totally obsessioned, totally mad. Entering the thick forest without fear at all, abhaya, spirit. As it is said, fearlessness in the pursuit of truth is non-different from God. Recently, I was sharing some of my thoughts on that connection with a friend. This idea came, which points a lot to the beginning of the Bhagavatam. Fearlessness, to be up high in the pursuit of truth, to look for the truth without fear, actually is non-different from God. In other words, it will give us a result, God, who is the ultimate truth. Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta stressed this point in his famous final instructions. Maybe you recall them. He was bedridden before leaving, and he declared that he was obliged to speak Akaitava Satya Katha, following the second verse of the Bhagavatam, Dharma Prayita Kaitavo Traparamonin Matsaranam Sadam, says the Bhagavatam has nothing to do with cheating. So hopefully if you embrace the Bhagavatam, if you're a devotee of the Bhagavatam, you are exactly in the opposite direction, Akaitava. So Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta says, I am obliged to speak Akaitava, which means free from cheating, Satya Katha. Satya means truthful or true. Katha means conversation, topics. So I am compelled to speak topics about the truth, which are devoid of all forms of cheating. He was compelled, in other words, and of course, not only him, hopefully, but also us, he was compelled to give a description of reality which truly corresponds to reality as it factually is, not to imagine reality, constructed reality, conjecture, assumed reality, speculated reality, but as it is. That's what Prabhupada published, Prabhupada Gita as it is, without being tinged with any selfish motive that will distort it, including moksha. The desire for moksha is considered by Gaudiyas as kaitav, as we know, kaitav dharma. And then, as we know, he concluded his instructions famously, his discourse. He encouraged his disciples, please also engage in this akaitava satya katha, in this non-cheating, truthful conversations of Sri Rupa Raghunath in ekanta anugatyam, with one pointed following in spirit. And he concluded saying, with greatest enthusiasm and in a fearless voice.